It's the Score North Twin Show.
And we are live on the Score North YouTube channel here for a live burial of the Minnesota Twins 2023 season here. The Score North Twin Show. Where at the end of the day, we do need a new slogan for the show because it was, we just want the Twins to win a playoff series at some point for the first time in 20 years. They did check that box. They won their first series. And they even the series against the Astros 1-1, and then they get smoked in Game 3, and then tonight at Target Field, they just couldn't get runs across here. So we'll break it all down. We will bury the season here. Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad, and Declan Goff. These guys have been at Target Field in the press box all night. I was a man of the people at Target Field all night. And now that you guys have taken in the post-game press conferences and I have made my way back home, we are live here on the Score North YouTube channel ready to recap the whole thing. So we'll pop your comments on the screen throughout the night here. Did you guys do the Immaculate Grid yet today? Can we do the Immaculate Grid? Can we?
I did not do the Immaculate Grid. And
Okay.
Judd, you're muted if you want to chime in on that.
Nope, I didn't try to look. No, I've got some copiers and things. It's a post-game activity behind me, so I'm trying to mute it. But no, I looked at it, but I have not done the Immaculate Grid.
So we can end the season on a fun note here with an Immaculate Grid that I think the Twins are on, according to some people on Twitter here. But Judd, why don't you start us off here? Main takeaway from the post-game recap, the press conferences. What were the Twins saying about the way this game and series went tonight?
Well, I didn't get into the clubhouse, but I did go to the Rocco Baldelli post-game, which is in it as it is in the playoffs in a press conference room. And basically his message was, and he's not wrong about this, that the pitching did a fine job. Like we could talk about the decision to take Joe Ryan out after 2. And I think that's going to be a topic, but that's not the problem. The problem is they didn't score runs. And I mean, Baldelli was very upfront about that. And that was the problem. And so, you know, beyond the Thielbar home run, which is going to happen. I mean, you're going to give up some runs.
Yeah.
That's not but that's not the sticking point here.
No.
The sticking point is, and this is going to be a topic of conversation, I think, in the next week or so, is the Twins have now, 2019, they got eliminated by the Yankees in 3 games with Rocco. 2020, it was 2 games to these Astros here at Target Field. And now this year, and, you know, the one major problem is not pitching. The one major problem is scoring runs.
Dude,
So,
it's a 20-year problem. Like it's not against the rules to score 10 runs in a playoff game or 8 runs in a playoff game. We celebrated when they scored 6 runs in a playoff game for the first time since October 6th, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2002 they had 11 runs in like game 2 or 3. It's okay to score a bunch of runs in a playoff game. And guess what? Jose Urquidy is one of the worst starting pitchers of any of the playoff teams left right now. And you had a chance to rock that dude's world for a 4 spot, a 5 spot. Now, there were some, I will say this. The Twins had like 3 balls, Correa's last at bat, where they just hit the bejesus out of a baseball and it went right to an outfielder, right to a shortstop. But for God's sakes, from the 2003 Twins all the way to the 2023 Twins, it's okay to score 8 runs in a playoff game. That's my biggest frustration with this. Like, what do you guys... Max Kepler, by the way, 0 for 4 tonight. Max Kepler, and we're going to get to a pie chart of blame here, which I hope Max Kepler eats a huge chunk of Judd's pie chart. Max Kepler has now had 50 plate appearances in the postseason. He's batting 150. Dude, like, I know you got hot in the second half of the season, but what are we doing here? You know, so I'm torn here because on one hand, tonight was a massive disappointment. That crowd was ready to pop about 6 or 7 different times. On the other hand, they did just win their first 3 playoff games and their first playoff series in like 2 decades, and they've got some young things to build upon here. So I'm trying to balance the annoyance and the frustration of the way that they lost this series with the bright future in front of them with some of the young players on this team. Pablo Lopez, 26 years old, Royce Lewis. But for God's sakes, score some runs in a playoff game for the first time in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm at too. I rule this season as a success. This was
Yeah,
a successful season. And I don't think that's to say that this is classic Minnesota sports of, you're classic Loserville or lowering your expectation. People, this team hadn't won a playoff game in 18 tries.
It's a step.
And they took 3. They won 3 playoff games in the last week. I've seen 3 playoff wins in the last 20 years. So it was at least a step forward.
Yeah.
But at the same time, plenty of things to fix, plenty of things to address, and now you get to raise the bar. Like we've been just asking the Twins on this show to win a playoff game before we die or to break the streak, and now the bar gets to be raised, which I like.
Yeah.
But so this year at least, the problem is extremely, and going back to 19, this probably is true as well. With the bats, it's extremely diagnosable, and it's not a fluke. When you get in the playoffs, the type of at-bats that the Twins take and that, for instance, the Astros take are what win and lose you playoff games. You can't, it's like Phil has said for a while now, and I agree completely. When we're in June and the Twins are striking out left and right, and fans are like, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's an out's an out, an out's an out. Well,
no.
Okay, in June, that's probably not true, but I can tell you one thing that's damn certain. In October, it hurts you. And so, like, go back and watch the Astros at bats. Watch how they work counts. And it's not like they don't have power. So it's not like, well, they're a punch and Judy team. But if you go and watch the Astros approach the plate and the Twins approach, that is your fundamental flaw.
Like tonight, the Twins struck out 14 times. Now, the Twins, I think they set the major league record with like almost 1,700 strikeouts this season. So we knew this was a thing going into the playoffs. But it's so glaring in a do-or-die, season-on-the-line elimination game against the Astros. And by the way, they're running out a very gettable starting pitcher who goes 5 2/3 against you. And you strike out 14 times in this game. 14 times in this game. That's so 27 outs in a 9-inning game, right? So more than half of your outs, no chance of like a ground ball going through for a seeing eye single or a bloop falling in. Maybe you stretch it into a double or something, moving a runner over, whatever it is. Like maybe it's a tag up from second to third. Like when you strike out 14 times in a game, I'm so sick of people like, and I'm an analytics guy. An out's an out. What's the difference? The difference is a batted ball can lead to something good happening. And when you start a game with your backs against the wall, chance to like for your season to be over, and you strike out 14 times against their 4th starting pitcher, you're just asking for it. So like one of the biggest things they have to do, and they have something here. They do. Like Royce Lewis, Carlos Correa, especially healthy next year, right? They've got something here. Edward Julian. But you got to find guys who can make contact and put a ball in play. I mean, you can't have the Max Keplers and the Matt Wallners where it's just they're going to hit some home runs, but at the end of the day, like put a ball in play and see if something can happen. The Astros for about 6 years now have been one of the most difficult teams to strike out 1 through 9 in the entire league. And that's a huge reason why they've won 2 world championships. I know they cheated or whatever, but like they're also really, really good, independent of whatever they may or may not have done 6 years ago.
4 games, the Twins struck out collectively 59 times.
Yeah.
6 playoff games in which they won 3 of them. They struck out collectively 73 times. And I just saw before we started this note, the Twins are the first team in Major League history to play at least 6 games in a single postseason and strike out 10 plus times in every single one of them.
That's insane, dude. That's bonkers. So we're trying to balance the micro of it is, wow, that's annoying and that can't happen and there should be changes, and we will discuss those changes and speculate recklessly over the next few weeks here on the Score North Twin Show. But at the same time, I'm with Declan. This was a successful season. They checked the boxes that we asked them to check, and now it's kind of about how do you build on winning a playoff game, winning a playoff series, fighting the Astros pretty deep into this series. So I think it might be time now for the pie chart of blame, though. I don't think we should waste any more time here. Judd's been cooking and slicing and sprinkling in ingredients here from the Target Field press box. What do you got for us, Judd?
I have a I have a pie with several pieces. I believe I have 11 pieces because there was so
wait,
much.
Wait. What?
11 pieces for tonight.
What?
11 pieces because this is for tonight's game, and there is a lot of blame to go around. There is a lot of blame, and shockingly, very, very little is on pitchers. Oh, you know what? Chris Paddock.
Well, wait a second. You said 11 slices. 11 they
slices.
did use 11 hitters in this game, or 11 position players.
And a lot of them are going to be on this list.
Heard of.
This is unprecedented.
Yeah.
Gents, I got news for you. Look at the scorecard. In fact, Dex has his scorecard right there. Look at the 4 through 9 hitters, and tell me that every one of those guys doesn't deserve a piece of pie.
Okay, the 4 through 9 hitters. Let's go through the amount of. Let's go through the hits from the 4 through 9 hitters here. Okay, we'll start with Max Kepler.
Yep.
0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 strikeouts, including 3 by Donnie Barrels.
Okay, wow. I didn't know this was going to be an 11 slice pie here. So before we get to the 11 slices of pie, let's shout out some friends here real quick here, starting with Ugly Deck and uglydeck.com.
Yes, in fact, they're called Ugly Deck, and you see an ugly deck right there, but there you see people dancing because their ugly deck has become a beautiful deck thanks to uglydeck.com. And if you go to their website right now, they're going to save you. They can save you up to $10,000 on a deck build that you're going to have next year. So that deck is going to turn into a deck that is worth partying about. Here's the thing. You get your own coach. It's a DIY, but with help. It's like having Sean McVay help you. Like you have
the Sean McVay of decks. Yeah.
Yeah, so like you have an offensive
or Kyle
mind.
Shanahan maybe. Kyle Shanahan. Of decks.
But I mean, you're Brock Purdy and you're like, I got to get a deck. What am I going to do? And all of a sudden Kyle comes along and it's like, I am a Pro Bowl player. What happened? Well, that is exactly what uglydeck.com is going to do for you. By next spring, you're going to have a fantastic deck. All you have to do is go to their site and click on the DIY portion. They will help you get a beautiful new deck. And again, because you're going to be doing some of this yourself with a coach, you could save up to 10 grand. Imagine that. And also, thanks to our friends at Ugly Deck for jumping on board and helping to sponsor some of our postseason twin shows. We do appreciate you.
Yep. Also, Hire a Pro jumped on board here for the postseason too. And now, so the season's over here, but we have multiple recap episodes probably tomorrow and also Feedback Friday. And then we'll start to look ahead next week on the Scorner Twin Show. But Hire a Pro is on board here. And so if you had hail damage that affected your roof this summer, Hire a Pro is here to help you earn a profit on a hail claim. So roofers do this all the time when they ask for your insurance check. They just know what materials to order, the crew to hire, how to negotiate with insurance. Hire a Pro takes care of all of this for you with the most transparent process in the industry. You get the same quality materials and the same manufactured backed warranty by a licensed and insurance crew. And so with Hire a Pro, you can actually make a profit on your hail claim. So let them sit down with you on your approved claim and they'll knock it out of the park. If insurance has been approved for your roof replacement, Hire a Pro is at 651-402-3400. That's 651-402-3400. Or go to hirea.pro. That's hirea.pro is their website. All right, this is an unprecedented pie chart.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
A pie chart of blame with 11 slices. I don't even know how you carve a pie into 11 slices, but Judd's going to show us right now.
You know what? You do it through anger. You do it with a razor edge knife because you're so upset about how this game came to an end. Although I will
Which player
say
would
this.
You stab with your pie knife,
Well, that's
by
not
the way?
very nice. As a sports fan, being here as all three of us were, this place was, again, electric. Like, this was actually just a fantastic atmosphere. The entire playoffs were great as far as the fans went. And so despite the disappointment and the Twins' inability to hit, it always felt like the fans were on the precipice of exploding, which was awesome. Yeah. So, like, as a fan, I did thoroughly enjoy this playoff run in watching the reaction here. And kudos, you guys did a great job.
And fans were ready to pop so many times. And it's like you just need to, sometimes with Minnesota sports fans, It's not like Philly fans where they're going to try and like carry the team through. You got to give them something here. Like, and the Twins had so many chances. Yeah.
I mean, these fans were trying so hard. So congratulations. You guys, I thought, stood out really well. All right, let's start at the bottom of the pie chart of blame. Just a 5% slice going to a couple of guys. First of all, David Popkins. Just a season long. Like this team in the second half did start to hit, and I don't think he is now on the hot seat, which in June I thought he was. But still, like the approach at the plate, and we'll get to more people that are to blame for this, but just the approach at the plate. And Phil, I agree. I mean, the Astros are a really good, well-run team, but these last two pitchers that the Twins faced, they made them look like Koufax and Drysdale circa 65. And I don't think that is doing justice to your own team.
But you just said, okay, 5% David Popkins should not be on the hot seat. The Twins
I don't
just
think
struck.
He is, I said.
Okay.
I don't think he is. I said he maybe should be.
But the Twins just struck out more times in 6 months than any team in the history of Major League Baseball. A history that goes back to like a week after the Civil War. And this team struck out more than any of those other teams in 150 years of Major League Baseball. Mm-hmm. And I know that they scored some runs and they were the top 5 offense, OPS, top 5 in the second half, and like runs per game, top 5. You can't strike out that much and think you're going to be a viable, you can't go into a series against the Astros and strike out 14 times in game 4 and think that you're going to win that game, right? So when it comes to approach, that approach is not sustainable. You need to make a change. So I don't think, I'm with you, I don't think they're going to fire him, but he is the overseer of the offensive strategy, right? And they struck out they had more automatic outs than any team in baseball history, and that should not be glossed over.
If I'm not mistaken, they do have 3 coaches who are involved in or have hitting titles, right? Popkins, Rudy Hernandez, and I think there's a third, but I don't think they're going to be fired. That being said, they definitely it has to be pointed out that the quality of the at-bats when it mattered most were not up to snuff. Yeah. So 5% there. Okay. 5% also goes to a guy that's actually hit a home run tonight and set the tone for the game, but unfortunately watched his double off the wall.
Oh,
and still almost went for third.
Wow,
Edward Julian. Come on down. You get a 5% slice of pie, and here's why. Wow. First of all, on a ball on a night the ball traveled, he clearly thought that the double he hit to start the game, which, by the way, again, the crowd was like on at the edge of their seat, like they were standing up, and he spanks that ball. And if you go back and watch, he then watches that ball. It goes off the wall, and as he rounded second, he almost went Rosario and thought, I'm going to try to go for 3 because I could have had a triple.
Because I should have in the first place.
Because I should have. Yeah. Now let's consider the trickle down of that entire sequence. He's then at second base. Okay?
Yeah.
And that is when you get the Polanco sort of half line drive. I wouldn't call it a
flare.
Screaming line drive.
It was a flare. Yeah.
Flare to shortstop. Julian's too far off second, can't get back, gets doubled off. Royce Lewis then comes up and hits a home run. Yeah. But that flare, of course, almost certainly doesn't get him doubled up if he's on third base.
No.
So I'm giving him a 5%. I mean, these are the things in playoff baseball you can't afford. You can't be like, well, it's a small mistake. Yeah, it's a small mistake that looms huge.
So we're saying, by the way, I don't think the mistake was when he was on second base, because he sprinted right back to the bag and it was just like the perfect timing. The mistake was not getting a triple when he should have had a triple, right? Just to clarify. Okay.
That was his biggest mistake, yes.
I agree. He should have had a triple, yeah.
Yes.
And dude, why are you not, why would you, in any situation in the playoffs, sprint out of the box?
Right.
It's almost like these guys all want to make sure that they pimp the dugout down the first baseline. If they hit a jack, you want to make sure that let's flex for the camera. Dude, run to first base unless you're 100% sure that thing is 450 feet,
Run, Edward, run. All right.
Okay. All right.
And now
Only
we're
9 more slices. This is very
Yes.
cathartic.
And now we're going to start to go through some of the players who actually get slices for just flat out failing. I'm going to give a small slice because for the most part, this guy had a fantastic playoff. But I'm going to give a 5% slice to the guy who hit 5th tonight, Carlos Correa.
Wow.
Strikeout looking, fly out to center, and a line drive right to the shortstop that was spanked.
That was a smoke show.
But
yeah.
that being said, everybody who hits 4 through 9 is on this list. Everybody who you needed at some point in time to get a key hit is going to make this list. They get differing pieces of pie, but they are all on this list. So 5%.
He made some nice plays at shortstop tonight too, I will say. Like he
He had a
made some
good
routine
series.
plays or some tough plays look routine, but okay. It's fair.
All right. So let's now go to the 10% slices of pie. This is the dominant category. 10%. Let's keep that in mind.
Okay.
I'm grouping together, and this is why the pie chart will now go fairly
The Rock
quickly.
knows how you feel about pie.
Ryan Jeffers, Willie Castro.
These are all
Donnie-
separate slices?
Yes, all 10%.
Okay, because I'm writing this down. So Jeffers.
Ryan Jeffers, Castro,
Okay.
Solano.
Donnie Non-Barrels,
Okay. Donnie trademark tonight.
the duo of not Simon and Garfunkel, but Taylor and Buxton.
And they
and
each get
Buxton-
they're tied with 10 or they
They're-
each get 10?
No, they're going to share a 10% slice because they
Okay.
were both hit. Buxton hit for him, and he hadn't been up for how long?
3 months, yeah.
Right. But anyway, so
Against
they're
a pitcher
going to
who has not allowed a
share
run
that.
in 30 consecutive innings, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
the last one is actually going to be the guy who hit second, Polanco, line to short, and again, that was a flare. Grounded to second base, flew out to center, struck out swinging to start the 9th. So Polanco gets his own 10% chunk.
Yeah. So you got some interesting decisions to make, and we can do this on a separate episode, but like Polanco and Kepler, right? They've got team options for 2024. You got middle infielders. You got Brooks Lee coming up at some point. You know, Polanco, God, for as good as he was down the stretch after he came back from the injury, September, he was working at bats. He was putting the bat on the ball. Just really disappointing in these playoff games. I actually thought he was going to be a catalyst tonight, and 0 for 4.
I think we could easily do a couple of episodes, well, actually more than 2, on who's going to be where position wise. I think we could do an episode on the infield and first base, second base, third base, perhaps in particular. The catcher.
Wait, you
Because
think
Jeff-
third base is a question?
It depends on what they want to do there. I mean, you could move Royce around. I don't know. Here's the one thing I will say. A position that's completely unset is first base.
Agreed. Yes.
I don't know what they're going to do at first base. And here's my question: is Brooks Lee going to play second? Because then
Yeah.
you can move. I would prefer to leave Royce at third base, but I'm saying I think it's at least a discussion about what they might do there. I think you should leave him at third.
I think.
But anyway, that would be a good show.
I think it depends on so Julian got better at, this is like a side street here for another show, but Julian got better defensively as the season went along. I think you can maybe start him at second. I think Polanco's gone. I think Julian maybe starts at second base with Correa short, Lewis at third, and then Brooks Lee can play. He's a shortstop by nature. I think you groom him to be sort of can play short, second, or third, and he's in the mix. Just like this year, you had guys that were kind of in the mix everywhere. With Brooks Lee ready to play second base on a regular basis, and then you kind of figure out maybe. I don't think Julian's a full-time DH because I want the DH spot to be a rotational spot. But first base is a good point. I know Kirilloff's been playing banged up, and so it's all like, well, if Kirilloff comes back healthy, well, Kirilloff's had a degenerative wrist problem. He's had shoulder problems. Like, just, until we see it with Kirilloff for a full season, I don't think you can just rely on him. Declan's ready to rant on Kirilloff, I feel like.
Well, here's a question, too. Is Kirilloff back for sure? And my other question is, if he is back and Julian is back for sure, could you use one of those two, if not both, as outfielders? Could Julian be a corner outfielder?
Boy. Well, right now you're kind of like stacked at those positions, right? You'd have to make some trade. You have Wallner.
But you're going to have to make
Kepler.
trades.
Kepler. I don't want Kepler back. So
But you're going to have to make trades. I mean, I
Larnick's
think
a former
they're going to
first
make
rounder.
moves. I think they will make trades. So anyway, okay, back to the pie chart.
Yeah.
A 10% slice is going to go to one pitcher. You know, Joe Ryan went to. In fact, let me do the Ryan to Brock Stewart to Thielbler to Paddock, who was outstanding by the way, to Jax to Duran. 10% chunk will go to Caleb.
Yeah.
And I guess I do question this one. Okay, with what they were doing, should they have allowed him to pitch to Abreu?
Yeah.
They were really puppeteering this entire thing. So,
Did
was
he
that?
have to? Because
Well, he came in to start the inning, so he had to. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
but
okay.
to Judd's point, it's like, should they have let him pitch the inning? I guess would be the
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
You know, I don't know. I can't put a ton like big picture. Hey, before the game, someone says to you guys, listen, Twins are going to kind of do a bullpen thing here tonight. They're going to use 6 different pitchers,
Yeah.
and they're going to allow 3 runs in 9 innings. Do you take it or not? Home game, but backs against the wall against Jose or Urquidy. I take it, and I know that.
God, yeah.
Like I agree. Like Thielbar gave up the 2 runs, and so he should be on the pie chart. But like end of the day, give me 3 runs with a bullpen game all day long and go score 4. Like it's not.
Oh,
It's not a question.
yeah. You're exactly right. No, that was incredibly frustrating. Okay. 10% goes to Rocco and Derek Falvey.
Wow.
10% goes to them. One, this is their team, and there is now a Doogie, and there is now a long line. Dukes just walked by and flexed. There is now
He flexed
he flexed. I don't know why he flexed. So I
like
said,
a double
like
bicep.
Royce Lewis slept flex.
yeah, he flexed.
Was it like
was
like a Hogan or was it
No.
like a
No, it was this. It was like this. It was
Okay.
like he had
Double
hit a ball
biceps. Okay.
that was about to go off the wall, but Dukes thought it was going to be a home run, and
and
so
he stopped
was
at second
flexing,
base
and then
because he
had to stop
pimped
at
it.
second.
Yeah,
Classic
right,
Duke.
right, yeah.
And then
yeah.
and then Dex flared it to shortstop, and Dukes got doubled off.
Yeah.
But you know, this is now what, 3 games against the Yankees, 2 games against the Astros, and now 6 games this year in which, you know, their roster construction just dries up offensively.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of different players. It's been a lot of different looking teams. It's been different builds, but the one thing that stays in common is this. And so 10% to, you know, whoever, the building of this team and the execution, and we all thought, I think, that getting Kirilloff out of there tonight, and of course it turned out he was too hurt to play, and Wallner not playing, we thought, okay, you probably score some more runs, and you couldn't score more runs. And now if Kirilloff couldn't, here's where I'm confused. If Kirilloff, like by yesterday, could not hit
Thank you.
anymore,
Dude, then what are we doing?
Why was he playing?
This is the thing. It's like, okay, so
And just say
Kirilloff
it.
clearly wasn't that play at first base in the first inning yesterday. He didn't have a hit in like 5 playoff games. And then going back to Joe Ryan for a month and a half with, what is it, groin injury, whatever it was, like, going to give up 6 home runs in the first inning. Like, oh, now I'm hurt, right? If you're hurt, first of all, what are you doing? Like, I get you're trying to grind through it and be there for your team. If you can't field a ground ball or make contact on a pitch, or if you're Joe Ryan earlier this season, you're giving up bomb after bomb. If you're a player, stop being selfish. And if you're the training staff, what do you do here? Like, like you can't tell the difference between Kirilloff dialed in or Joe Ryan dialed in and not. You know, so if Kirilloff played with like a bum shoulder that didn't allow him to make contact and field a ground ball, then dude, shame on you, man. Like, stop being selfish. I know you're trying to be a hero here, but
they knew that. They knew he had been hurt. They see him every day. That couldn't have been a surprise. So that's my question, is like the Joe Ryan thing I sort of get. I think he did hide that.
yeah.
But the Kirilloff thing is he had been hurt, and you were watching him, and like you can clearly tell there are signs with him, because if he is right, his swing looks different. Like, there's enough things, and I guess I'm just surprised by yesterday that they're like, okay, we'll just play him.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Well, and then one more thing, because we talked about this last night, the ground ball to first base in Game 3. I watched that play. So sitting in the stands, they didn't show the replay. So you saw at first, you're like, God, that looked like a fieldable ball. I don't know. I'm sitting in the stands. I don't know. I've had a drink, whatever. Like, I watched that play 10 times this morning. Slow motion. That's a play that average Major League first baseman should be expected to make. His foot was on the bag. If he fields that ball on the bag, but it's like, dude, this is the playoffs. These are the best teams in the world here. Field that ball, step on the bag. 50-50. If you whistle that ball to second base, yell tag, right? Altuve's out, and the inning is no longer a threat. So if it was because his shoulder hurt that he couldn't field that ball and then throw it, it cost him at least one game, and then maybe multiple games going back, like because he took bad at bats because his shoulder hurt. So whatever it is, I'm with you on this with the Kirilloff thing. I don't know. Declan, you've been holding your Kirilloff thoughts the whole show, I feel like. So go ahead.
Trade his ass. I'm so done with it. That play was a chain reaction in this series.
Yeah.
It was a turning point in this series, and there was 18 innings of baseball left. I completely get that, but that was a amateur hour move, and even the body language of like, oh, it's fair. Like, go back and watch that, dude. You're a professional first baseman. If you can't make the DP happen, okay, get the ball. Touch
Step
first.
on first base. Yeah.
Let's go from there. But to act like shell-shocked and then be 0-9 at the plate, like the
palms up
scapegoat
thing
for you.
is like, dude, kangaroo court stuff. Like, bro, you can't put the palms up after that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a fair ball. Dude, field the ball.
Nope. And sitting in a Twins press box, I feel comfortable still saying that. So
Yeah.
that's currently where I am right now.
Are you in like the
I'm in a closet.
the closet? Okay.
The closet, yeah.
That's where Wetmore and I
see
used
the
to do the
lockers
old
behind us.
Touch 'em All
There's the
podcast
lockers.
back in the day. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That was
Got a
good.
box of Homer Hankies next to me. There's a lot of them.
Put a couple.
Bought one
Dude,
tonight.
take like 5. Just like
I
5.
paid $4 for one,
What?
just to have one. I paid $4 for one, just to have one. See, it's
I
funny.
have,
'cause it says,
I actually have 2.
we believe, and now I don't believe anymore.
Yeah. Actually, I got an extra one for you here if you want.
Oh, I
Very
paid
exciting
for this
here.
one. Look at how red mine is. Look at how I knew. Fresh
Just
out of
as
the
red
box.
as everyone else's. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So
Where
if
are we
I'm not
at here?
mistaken,
We've sliced up how many
there's
slices?
a 15% slice left.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah. No, I'm
I
not.
think you're.
at this
Wait.
point,
Wait.
but-
Hold on a second. Okay. So we've got 5% Popkins, 5% Julian, 5% Correa, right? 10% Jeffers, 10% Castro, 10% to
Solano?
Taylor and Buck to combine, 10% Donnie Barrels, 10% Polanco, 10% Thielbar, 10% Rocco Falvey, and now 15%.
That should put us at 75%, right? And now a 15% chunk left.
Well, that would
That's
get
what
us to
mine-
90.
That's what
After
mine
the
showed.
15.
Hold on a second here. I did the math before.
1,
10,
2, 3,
20,
4,
30,
5,
40,
6, 7. That's
50,
70, 85. No, we're at 85.
85. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 15% left.
Okay.
All right. So 15%, the final 15% goes to Max Kepler, and here's why. He did, I will say this, in Max's defense, and in this series, he did nothing. But in Max's defense, the called strike 3 when Royce Lewis stole second in the 6th, the late punch out. And by the way, tonight's home plate umpire was Leslie Nielsen. Like that, his
He would
strike
wait.
3 call, he was doing this, yeah, and he would do it so late, like Royce Lewis had second base stolen, and the second base umpire called him
Yeah.
safe, and then he called strike 3, and like the second base umpire had to tell Royce, sorry, dude, it's over.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's called out on an inside pitch in which the umpire blew the call, but that sets up the 9th, 2 outs. Okay, Ryan Presley pitching. And Max Kepler proceeds again in the midst of a bad series and a terrible game. He proceeds to take strike 3 again. It's like, dude, you know that this umpire is unpredictable.
Yep.
The season is over if you don't keep your at bat alive. I know you want to. I know your eye is better than the umpires. I know that all of these guys, basically know what the strike zone is now. And a lot of these umpires, we saw this in this entire series, are very questionable, and it goes both ways. But the point is, Max, if you take strike three, if the umpire deems it strike three, it's over.
Yeah.
He did, and then he proceeds to start to complain about it. And it's like, Max, you know what? It's been a great run. Well, actually, it's not been a great run. It was a great 2019. And it was really fun about after July 15th or so of 2023. But I think, to your point, I think Max Kepler and Jorge Polanco will be elsewhere unless this team, they do believe in Max more than me. But I thought tonight was just about enough. So
Yep.
15% goes to Max Kepler.
Yep. No, I'm going to give you a round of applause here, man. 11 slices of pie here. I think you touched on pretty much everything from tonight. On Max Kepler, all right, sometimes with baseball, like I know there's like all these analytics and stats, and I'm a big analytics guy, and I love leaning on the numbers. But sometimes you can just tell guys who have it when the pressure is high, it's October, the crowd is going crazy. It's a pressure situation. Got to have a hit in this situation, right? Some guys have that factor where they can slow everything down. They can come up. They can make solid contact. They can drive a ball into the seats, right? Royce Lewis very obviously has it. Jose Altuve very obviously has it. Carlos Correa. Max Kepler has been playing playoff baseball since he's 30 years old, by the way. Since 2017, that was his first taste of the playoffs in the wild card game against the Yankees. And so he has had 46 at-bats, 51 plate appearances. 49 plate appearances, 41 at-bats, dating back to 2017. Eye test, doesn't have it. Stats, he's batting $146. He is 6 for 41 in the postseason as a 30-year-old. At some point, you just don't have it, man. In these big moments, your heart starts racing a little bit faster. It's hard to slow it down, pick out a pitch, drive it. It's just not Max Kepler, man. He's not good in the postseason.
And the thing about him, too, is there are guys that you probably even have in your system right now to replace him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Easily.
So, like, it's not this whole of, well, if Max Kepler's gone or if Polanco's gone, what are we
Try
gonna
Trevor
do?
Larnach. Yeah.
You've got options. And so, yeah, but I understand the strike zone problems, and I understand that it's not that these umps are worse than the old school umps. It's that we know they're not good at times. But the reality is this: you've got to adjust a little bit. Like, you've got to say, you know what, this guy called a really lame strike on me, and if I take strike three again, we're done here. And you're down by a run too. That's the thing about this is, and I know it felt hopeless in some ways because they couldn't score, but they were down by a run.
Yeah.
That could be one thing if it was, 9-1, right? It's over. Who cares? Go home. But tonight, crowd going crazy. You're down by a run. All you have to do, and this again goes to getting on base. Like, imagine, it's 14 strikeouts tonight. Let's take 5 away and just say that they're outs, but they're grounder to short here, or a flare there, a bloop here, and 2 of them are misplayed. This is a 3-2 game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something might happen.
Exactly.
Yep. You would easily take at the end of the game, hey, 14 strikeouts, let's make it 9. Let's convert 5 strikeouts to batted balls. Take your chance. What's the outcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a single. Another one is a ground ball that's an error or something, right? It's just, You got to reduce the automatic outs. So that's kind of the micro, though. I still keep going back to God, that was fun inside that ballpark the last couple days, the wild card round. Twins fans have been starved for this for so long. Minnesota sports fans deserve runs like this. You just keep showing up and getting your head bashed in by these Minnesota disappointing sports teams. And so you could feel the energy. You could fans want this. Fans will show up. They will pack those seats. The secondary market, it's $100 to get in and sit in the third deck. If you give these fans something to cheer for and something to believe in, they will pay you back. And so I'm glad that we got at least a little taste of this thing, as disappointing as it is, and as much as like the 11 slices of pie are definitely deserved here from Judd's pie chart.
Rock knows how you feel about pie.
The atmosphere was largely electric in these last 2 rounds, and I think it just makes you want more. There's a generation and a half, maybe 2 generations of Minnesota sports fans that have just not experienced anything like this. We're just like, what do we do? This is crazy. The Twins are in the second round. They have a chance to win and keep going. We don't know what this feels like. So it's been super fun. And now I think we're looking forward to, on this show, discussing now going forward, what can they do going into reckless speculation season, winter meetings, etc., to get this thing to the next level, get closer to where the Astros have been, where the Braves are right now, although the Phillies have a 2-1 lead in that series, where the Phillies are, right? What are the next chess moves on this board to get to that next step?
And they're going to have to make some like that. That's the thing, is they did take, there are some positives here, but they need to make some moves. And they're going to lose guys.
Yeah.
Like they're just flat out going to lose guys. I will be shocked if Gray is back, but that's why it was good news to see Paddock pitch so well if he comes back healthy. But there are, you have to find a way to get guys that can actually make contact. The Joey Gallo experimentations need to end.
Yeah. Get some real dudes. Yes. Amen. So, all right, there's Judd's pie chart.
Rock knows how you feel
Before
about
we get
pie.
to an immaculate grid to wrap this episode here, any other final thoughts from you? And we're going to do another episode tomorrow, and we'll do a feedback Friday. So there's more to dissect here, but just like immediate thoughts on the ending of this Twins season here from you guys.
Dex?
Yeah, I'm excited to talk off-season stuff. I just am glad I was able to experience some postseason baseball as a legitimate adult. I was 17 in 2010, and I was also here, I guess, in 2019 for Game 3 against the Yankees. But just to experience this was cool to see, and for them to win a playoff game, man, like that is a weight that has been on my shoulders for 18 years, and that is now off. It is just gone. It's like a tumor that was just chopped off my brain, and it's just gone.
Ouch. Jeez.
Yeah, it's true.
Bad pun. Yeah.
I would say this. Jorge Lopez, it looks like a horse. And it's fun to Pablo. Sorry, I can't.
Horse to be riding.
Jorge was a horse too,
Yeah,
just like a different kind of horse.
He actually got DFA'd by the O's again too. So, but anyway, Pablo Lopez is a horse, and a top of the rotation guy is so fun to watch, and they're hard to find. We've talked about this for a long time. Every team does not get one. Like you might have a guy that you like, but you don't have a horse like that. And what he did in the playoffs is sort of the opposite of what you're talking about with Kepler, which is the guy that really doesn't embrace the spotlight.
Yeah.
He embraced the spotlight. And so I think that is from a pitching standpoint, that is a great place to start with a guy like that.
Yes, this is a great point we can talk about and expand upon. But you've found some guys that love the spotlight, that just rise up in those moments. Pablo, Correa, historically, Royce Lewis. There's probably a couple other guys we could like. I think Julian to some extent. I know he kind of loafed it on that, but like Julian got on base 3 times tonight in a do or die game.
Yeah, I agree.
Griffin
Jacks, dude. Griffin Jacks was lights out in the playoffs.
He shoved, and that shoved it right. Declan, who wanted to take him off.
What a take.
You could make a case he was the 3rd best pitcher in this entire series, after maybe even the 2nd
Tonight?
after Pablo.
Second? No, 3rd. I think Duran was filthy.
Duran was incredible in this
But
series.
Jacks was the 3rd best pitcher. He was filthy. We got the good Griffin Jacks.
We found the key to the Twins containing Yordan Alvarez in this series. Have Duran face him. He looked very ordinary.
Yeah, well,
against that filth.
Most guys do. But so this collection of players that rises up and feels great and comfortable and thrives in these big moments, right? Anyone else that falls definitively outside of that, I know it's small sample sizes here, but you can kind of tell who's got it, who doesn't. Kepler, see ya. Kirilloff, unless you're telling me like the injuries. I'm not saying just like willy-nilly get rid of guys here, but I would be identifying who is super comfortable, whose pulse doesn't race through the back of their neck in these big moments. And if yours does, you don't fit the culture.
Yep.
Kepler doesn't fit the culture anymore. Sorry.
And on a different note, I don't think that this guy is by any means gone, but we can basically do a whole episode on Buxton.
It's so tough. I think it's for him. It's so much less about like, does he rise up or not? It's more about like, can he physically even like walk onto a baseball field?
What do you do with him? That's the question.
You proceed as if he's just bonus. I think.
Well, that's what's interesting about it. Anyway.
Yeah. So okay, there's
Grid
the
time?
pie chart. It's grid time. Yes. All right.
Brock knows how you feel about
You got this
pie.
thing, Dex?
So here's the thing with the grid. Yes, there is a standard grid that has our 6 teams on it here. However,
Special grid.
I don't want you to really look at this.
Okay.
Special grid.
Baseball bonus grid from Fox.
I heard about this.
This is
It's like a
what people are
sponsored
talking
grid,
about.
or what?
And
What's the?
BT Dubs? I can't get rid of this Fox logo. It is just there. So
Okay.
this is the grid. I think honestly, I think we can get this pretty quick because it's 3 teams we all probably know pretty well, and it's 3 categories that shouldn't be a lot of stumping.
Okay. So here's for the audio audience that's listening to this later on here. So we're looking for a twin who was an all-star, a twin who was a Hall of Famer, and a twin who won the Cy Young, a Red Sox who was an all-star, a Red Sox Hall of Famer, and a Red Sox Cy Young, and then a Dodger all-star, Dodger Hall of Fame, Dodger Cy Young, right? And we're looking to go 9 for 9 here. We'll start with a twin. Excuse me. My voice is cracking here from just screaming at Twins hitters from the outfield.
A lot of
What a
good
good time,
tactics
man.
here.
It was so much fun, like running into Score Our Twin Show and Purple Daily listeners and viewers too.
We had a guy
Dex
who
is
was
a
2
fan.
rows below us that all of a sudden all I heard was Dax, Dax, and I look up and there's just this guy multiple beers in having the time of his life.
just going for it all.
Yep.
Yeah, it was awesome. He was enjoying himself. I only hope it was with Surly's.
Just going for it all.
Twins. Okay. Where should we
Okay,
start?
Twins All-Star. I mean, who are the obscure All-Stars? So,
So we talked
well,
to
dude,
Lauds the other
Tim
day.
Laudner. Tim Laudner.
Yep.
Let's use Lauds. 88 All-Star.
Yep. In
This got to
Cincinnati.
be under 1%, under 2%.
Yeah.
0.1? Is that
1%. Yeah.
0.1%?
I think we did that last time.
Hey, hide the
think we found
comments,
that.
by the way. Let's hide the comments.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm
No,
not looking at them, but
we love you
I don't-
guys,
Okay.
but we're trying not to cheat
Okay.
here. Okay, Twins Hall of Famers who are, and they could be guys who passed through, right? Like
Like
Dave
Dave
Winfield,
Dave
Paul
Winfield.
Molitor.
yeah.
Hold on,
so
though.
let-
Winfield, Molitor.
I think Tommy will be too high.
Yeah.
too recent.
What about guys like, Jack Morris? I'm trying to think of other,
Cott?
like
Yeah.
80s. Jim Cott? Cott? Probably pretty low.
Bert.
Oliva.
Cott.
Do people know like
See, I don't know. It's a
Cott.
good question. But Tony just got in, and so did Cott. So would that make him
Ooh,
higher than they should
Oliva
be?
would. I bet Oliva and Cott would be low because of that.
and it's probably only Twins fans knowing that information.
Yeah.
Should we do Oliva or Cott? I think.
Cott probably, right?
Or wait. We get Senators history here too. So we could go like Walter Johnson.
Walter Big Train. Do you know how hard he threw? So hard.
So they did a test. This was before radar guns. They had him like, there was like a train coming down the tracks,
This
and
is
they
what they
had
did
him
with Bob
throw
Feller.
a fastball lined up with a train coming down, and they clocked him. That was their way of clocking him at like
Okay,
105
but
miles an hour.
Did he win a Cy Young? Since '56,
No.
probably not. No.
No, he did not.
Hall of Fame. We're looking for Hall of
Yeah,
Fame.
no,
here.
I know. I
no,
was
he
thinking
was
maybe
talking
if-
about the Cy
Yeah.
Young.
For Cy Young, we could go.
Jim Perry?
Did Camilo Pascual win a Cy Young?
No, Jim
No.
Perry did though.
Jim Perry.
Okay. All
Gaylord's
right, back to the Hall of
brother.
Fame.
Let's do Walter Johnson.
Walter Johnson.
That's got to be
Big
pretty
train.
obscure, right?
4.
4%.
Yeah, Jim Perry's the most
Boom.
rare Twins.
4.
4%. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a Boston Red Sox we brought up a few days ago, Tris Speaker from back in the day, that might fit some of these categories. So Tris Speaker was like, he was like a batting average, stolen
Yes.
base guy. He's definitely a Hall of Fame Red Sox.
Yep.
We could use him there. When was the All-Star? Can you click on the All-Star game thing?
34, I think.
33.
Ugh,
33.
Was he before that?
Arch Ward, baby. Well, do Tris It'll show
Let's
you.
do Hall of Fame. Let's do Tris Speaker Hall of Fame because that's going to be lower
He was
than
before
like
that. Yes.
Tris Speaker.
Yep.
1%. Let's go.
Nice.
Let's go. Okay.
Okay.
Red
All-Star.
Sox All Stars. Did Trot Nixon make an All Star game?
Oh,
Trying to think
man.
obscure here.
I like Trot.
Jim.
Tim Wakefield? He just passed away though,
He
so
did.
Probably,
He did.
probably going to be on people's minds.
Yeah.
Oh,
He did.
I was just gonna say, why wouldn't you want to do that? But that makes sense.
Yeah.
Any pitchers? Any Red Sox relievers?
Veritek.
Keith Folk.
Ooh, did Keith Folk make an All-Star? I feel like
Oh,
Veritek.
He was
would
the
be pretty
closer
well
in like the
known.
early 2000s.
Did Cone win?
Veritek's a great one. Veritek made some All Star games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's
he's
so many.
But Red Sox fans.
Mo
love him.
Vaughn, obviously.
Ooh, the hit dog? The hit dog? Should we use the hit
Who?
dog? Mo Vaughn? Should we use the hit dog?
Mo
What's his
Vaughn,
nickname?
definitely an All Star. I'm just, I don't know how high his percentage would be.
Yeah.
Clemens,
Too high.
That'd be
Jacoby
high.
Ellsbury.
Also, I think might be high.
Did Damon make it?
Probably.
Probably.
Try Mo Vaughn. That's a good
What
one.
about what about some of those '80s Red Sox?
Fred Lynn, Jimmy Rice, Huey Evans? I don't know.
Did
if Dewey was an
Eisenreich make
All-Star.
one? St. Cloud Proud? Did
He would have been Mets All Star at one point, I think.
Jimmy? He
Yeah,
he was
Jim
a Philly,
Eisenreich.
right?
Philly? Oh, I thought he was a Red Sox.
I don't
Met-
remember
wasn't
him
he
being a
Philly-
Red Sox.
Phillies, Mets, Twins.
I don't remember him being a Met, but that doesn't mean he wasn't.
Who did we
I
just
remember
say?
he went to the Phillies.
Well, now we're like we can go back like Jim
Jim
Rice.
Fred Lynn.
Fred Lynn.
I think
You want to do Mo Vaughn?
Vaughn is your best one.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be like
I'm just
6%.
gonna make an executive decision
I'm gonna
for
guess
Mo Vaughn.
6%. 1%?
People don't remember him, Phil.
Yeah.
He's
Why?
not remembered.
Because people, I
'Cause
think,
he's in
think
that-
of the 2000s and their multiple World
Yeah.
Series, and they don't remember
Yeah.
the 97 Red Sox.
Plus, his career flamed out really, really badly, unfortunately, because he
Yeah.
got hurt and had that like hip issue.
Okay,
who's
Red
a Cy
Sox,
Young?
Cy Youngs. I feel like there's a bunch of old pitchers that we're probably not
Did
even
Jim-
thinking about.
Did Jim Longberg win one?
Did Cy Young pitch for the Boston Red Sox and win his own award?
Rick Porcello was
Don't
recent,
Porcello.
but he did do it.
Porcello. That's a great one.
Did Cy Young win the Cy Young?
Porcello.
20.
20%. What?
I mean, it was like
Hold on a
6,
second here.
7 years ago.
But
I gotta
still. What are your options here? Clemens, Pedro, Porcello.
Did Jim Longberg?
There can't be that many options. I mean, there's probably a few like way back. Did Babe Ruth win a Cy? Can I look that up real quick? I bet you Babe Ruth did. Hold on. When did the Cy Young start, Dex? Can you hover over that?
Oh, you know what?
30, 56,
19
56.
Oh, okay.
1967, Jim Longborg won a Cy Young
Hell is that?
for the Red Sox. He was a good pitcher who got hurt in a skiing accident, and it derailed his entire career.
Safest way to go skiing, don't ski.
Dodgers, Cy Youngs.
Oh,
Well, Sandy
you're
Koufax.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Don Drysdale, Clayton Kershaw,
Hershiser.
Oral Hershiser, Fernando
Yep,
Valenzuela.
Fernando's a good one.
Want to do Fernando? Because I think Kershaw and Koufax are going to be...
What about Drysdale
Drysdale.
or Fernando or Hershiser?
I'd go Fernando,
Fernando,
but it might be higher. But I think you're right. I think they're all pretty household
Fernando
names.
Valenzuela.
Yep, right
Probably
there.
10%, 11%.
11.
Yep. Okay.
not bad.
I vote Tommy for Hall of Fame. He just passed
Sure.
through at the
Oh
Dodgers.
yeah, he just passed through.
Very
Yeah,
after
Why
a
not?
waiver claim. And
Well,
I don't think
why
this
not?
will be that high.
2%.
And he got traded here?
2%.
0.8.
0.9%.
0.8.
And then a
0.8.
Dodger All-Star could be anyone. Could be Mondesi.
Hideo
Could be
Nomo.
Sean Green. Could be Jackie Robinson. Don Drysdale. Who is that, by the way, Judd?
I gotta hurry up and get done here. I
Do
gotta
you?
hurry up and get done. They're trying.
Are they
to
yelling
this
at you
out.
right now?
No. They're talking. Krasinski's right by me, and she's talking.
Johnny K?
Yeah, he's right here.
Okay. Johnny Athletics right there.
Guys, say hi, Johnny. Are we being kicked out?
No.
Johnny K.
Hey,
I don't think
guys.
Johnny
Look at
is
that.
allowed.
The grid.
Contractually, this
Who's
might be a
Immaculate
problem.
All-Star Dodger.
Johnny, who's an
Yeah,
all-star
okay, you mean
Dodger?
All-Star
low
Dodger,
all-star
Johnny.
Dodger?
Low. Yes.
Is Steve Sachs low?
Ooh, yes.
Steve Sachs.
That's a good one.
Saxy. Love it. See,
Steve Sachs.
This guy contributes. This guy shows up and contributes.
2%.
There we go. Let's
Oh,
go.
way to go.
What's the percent?
2%.
Look at that.
2%. You come in.
Look at that.
You.
Big plays.
I mean, they're trying to kick you out of the press
good
box,
right
but
there.
you will not move. You won't. Yes. Exactly right.
2%, Steve.
Look at that. John Krasinski.
Go.
Saxy.
Wow. Nice
Boy,
job,
I couldn't
guys.
throw the ball once you got to the
Rick
end.
Porcello kind of screwed us there, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought that was a
I
good
didn't
one.
see that coming.
Oh, but look at that. Only 4 options, dude. So it was Porcello. It's Porcello. Hold on.
Longboat.
Can you click on that?
Okay.
I'm going to
Yeah,
guess
but
them.
it doesn't. Hold on. I have
It's
to do a control.
Porcello, Pedro, Clemens,
1 second.
And
The
my
thing
guy,
doesn't actually show
Cy
you.
Young. Who did Cy Young pitch for?
No.
I don't even-
All right.
I
Oh,
told
I'm
you.
sorry. It was the 50s. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Eric Gagne.
Oh, for the Dodgers. Yeah.
Yeah. Which one are you saying?
Red Sox.
Red Sox.
It's
Red
Porcello,
Sox.
Pedro, Clemens.
1 second.
The guy I told you about.
When you click
Who?
the link, by the way, for that, it doesn't actually show you, so you have to still search for it. So Porcello, Pedro, Clemens, Jim Longborg.
Yeah, that's the guy I
Okay.
told you about.
Okay.
The skiing
Yep.
accident.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Us old guys, we know stuff.
43%. So there it is. That's a wrap on the season here, boys. Let you guys get out of this press box before they shut the lights off on you.
The season's over. Trying to go home, okay? Spring training's not for a while.
Tomorrow, across the Score North network of podcasts, we've got Royce Unchained, and he's got some thoughts on this series. We've got State of the Offense, Kirk Cousins being asked about waiving his no trade clause. We'll talk about that. And then another Score North Twin show for you. So thank you for jumping on board here down the stretch the last 3 months here with the Score North Twin show. It's been fun bringing this show back to life after a 2-year hiatus and watching this team check off a couple boxes they haven't since the early 2000s. And we'll be with you recklessly speculating into the offseason on how this Twins team can get better and add pieces and maybe even take the next step, get back to a World Series for the first time since 1991. We still believe, Judd. We still believe. Judd never believes, but that's fine.
Look how thin this thing was. For $4.
Very cheaply
Johnny?
made. Yeah.
Johnny, I think I got ripped off. Can I get my money back?
It's not the same as the white one.
No,
See
they're
you
not.
guys. See you guys tomorrow.
They're not. They're not the same at all. Very disappointing. Why'd I pay